It's 4:27 a.m. on the 28th of July 2025. In the heart of Moscow, alarms rip through the still night. Spotters on rooftops shout warnings as blinding flashes streak across the sky, Ukrainian weapons already inbound. Inside the Russian General Staff headquarters, chaos explodes. Officers rush for cover, guards scramble to firing positions, but the first detonations arrive too fast. Two Russian helicopters on standby, an EI-28 and a Ka-52, erupt in fireballs. Seconds later, armored BTRs and BMPs near the compound ignite under precise strikes. Windows shatter, the city shakes, and panic spreads through the streets. Above, small Beaver drones dive and jam, while Storm Shadow warheads hunt the command floors. Smoke roars up the stairwells. Radios go dead. Generators kick and then fail. Defenders realize this isn't harassment, it's a coordinated kill shot at the nerve center of Moscow's war machine. The next minutes will decide whether the hub of command survives or collapses. In Moscow, the strike doesn't just hit walls, it strikes symbols. This is the Russian General Staff, the place that coordinates campaigns across Ukraine, the Black Sea, and beyond. For Kiev, the objective is simple: cut the head off the command chain, even if only for a few hours. Disrupting Russian planning in the middle of the capital sends a louder message than any battle on the front line. Every radar knocked out, every helicopter destroyed, means Moscow struggles to control forces stretched across multiple regions. For the Kremlin, the stakes couldn't be higher. The population was told that Moscow is untouchable, protected by layers of air defenses and elite guards. Yet in less than an hour, Ukrainian drones and missiles slip through and smash the heart of the command. Insurance markets watch closely. Foreign embassies send alerts. And ordinary Russians film the fireball from their apartment windows. The myth of invulnerability cracks wide open. The defenders know this is not just about buildings. If the central hub stays silent, whole units at the front will lose coordination, leaving gaps for Ukraine to exploit. That fear spreads faster than smoke panic inside command rooms, doubt inside political halls. For the attackers, even partial success is already a victory. Moscow now faces a haunting question. How can a city boasting the world's most advanced defenses still be breached at dawn? And what comes next? An isolated raid? Or the start of a larger campaign aimed right at the capital itself? Comment your take. Press 1 if you think Moscow regains control fast, or 9 if you believe Ukraine has shifted the war. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of this unfolding fight. 4:45 a.m. The first wave has already smashed into Moscow's center, but more is coming. Russian operators on rooftops detect fresh radar returns low, fast, and scattered. They know what it means. Another strike package inbound. Sirens wail again. Troops sprint to man. Heavy machine guns scrambling to rearm surviving air defense launchers. Inside the bunkers, officers yell coordinates over failing radios. Ukraine's plan unfolds in layers. Small reconnaissance drones circle above, beaming back video of Russian movements. These cheap eyes in the sky guide the second punch. More Beaver drones diving low between buildings, harder to spot until the last second. Electronic warfare trucks on Ukraine's side jam radars, forcing Russian gunners to fire blind. Every second the Russians hesitate gives the attackers more room. The defenders' fire bursts into the night sky. A few drones disintegrate, scattering burning debris across Moscow streets. But others break through. One dives straight at a BTR -82 amperes loaded with troops, detonating in a fireball that kills everyone nearby. Another smashes into a command post vehicle, tearing through antennas and operators alike. The battlefield feels less like a front line and more like a war zone suddenly dropped into the capital. Then comes the heavier blow. Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Flying low, hugging the terrain, they slip past weakened defenses. The first warhead slams into a communications hub on the upper floors of the General Staff building. The blast rocks the entire structure, tearing holes in its walls, cutting power and fiber links instantly. Moments later, a second missile punches deep into the basement, targeting hardened bunkers where officers try to regroup. Russian crews attempt to respond. aka 52 gunship lifts, but within seconds it is tracked and destroyed by a waiting Ukrainian Patriot battery stationed across the border. Soldiers watch in shock as their own helicopter bursts apart mid-air. The message is brutal and clear. Even their strongest weapons can be hunted. By 5:15 a.m., the fight is chaos. Smoke covers Red Square, alarms overlap, and explosions echo across the city. For the first time since the invasion began, the Russian command corps itself is under siege, and no one inside can say with certainty who still controls the battle outside. 5:25 a.m. The second wave hits harder. Several drones slip through the defensive fire, weaving between buildings at rooftop height. Russian gunners pivot frantically, tracers streaking across the skyline. Some targets explode mid-air, but others keep coming, slamming into vehicles, tearing up intersections, and sending shockwaves across the city. The defenders shift tactics. Surviving BMP crews angle turrets upward, firing bursts. Soldiers drag machine guns to balconies and rooftops, trying to cover blind spots. Every block becomes an improvised firing point, but every hit costs time, and time is what Ukraine is stealing. More cruise missiles sweep in low. Russian S-400 operators launch interceptors, scoring a few kills. Fireballs light the horizon, raining fragments over central Moscow. Yet gaps remain. One storm shadow streaks through and detonates inside a radar control cabin. The blast knocks out screens, radios, and the officers still inside. The General Staff complex shakes under continuous hits. Generators roar, lights flicker, and commanders try to restore order. But with communications failing, units at the front cannot hear or relay commands. A few seconds of silence on these channels means entire battalions lose coordination. For a war run on timing, it's a crippling blow. On the streets, panic grows. Civilians film the chaos, their videos flooding online before censors react. The Kremlin's message of a safe, shielded Moscow collapses in real time. Ukrainian operators confirm the strike is working. Air defenses are overloaded, command is faltering, and the city's image of control is burning. Inside, junior officers spread maps across a cracked table, marking backup routes with grease pencils. Scout drones hover above the roofs, flagging new fires. Russian squads haul ammo down dark stairwells, faces gray with dust, while commanders argue over which sector still answers the radio. The pressure is crushing. Both sides know what is at stake. Moscow's defenses versus Ukraine's resolve to prove nowhere is safe. So here's the question for you. If you believe Moscow can still hold the line, press 1. If you think Ukraine has already broken it, press 9, and make sure you're subscribed to follow how this battle unfolds. 5:40 a.m. Just as Russian gunners begin to steady their defense, the battlefield shifts again. New radar contacts appear smaller, faster, harder to lock. At first, operators think it's interference. Minutes later, the truth hits. Ukraine has launched a wave of mini-drones, each armed, each designed to slip through gaps. Unlike the larger beavers, these drones skim rooftops, darting between towers like insects. They're almost impossible to hit with missiles built for bigger targets. Machine gunners spray blindly, tracers bouncing off walls. The sky looks clear, yet the threat is already at their doorstep. The twist catches Moscow off guard. A cluster of drones dives at BTRs on perimeter duty. Explosions ripple outward, shredding vehicles and scattering survivors. Another swarm targets. Radar dishes, detonating in synchronized flashes. In seconds, equipment worth millions is scrapped. Decoys pull fire, while the real swarm hugs alleys, masked by smoke and sirens. Commanders call for countermeasures, but the grid is saturated. Interceptors can't hit such tiny targets, and jamming comes too late. The drones use simple maps and optical cues. Even with GPS noise, they keep moving. Ukraine knew defenses would tighten, so they sent weapons built to slip through. The more Russia adapts, the more flexible the attackers become. The pressure spikes again. Officers realize they're not fighting just drones or missiles, they're fighting unpredictability. Every wave exploits the last weakness. In a dim bunker, a colonel orders a final ring of guns around the comms node and prays the line holds. Stretched thin, Defenders gamble everything on buying a few more minutes. 5:55 a.m. The last wave closes in. The drones are faster, lower, deadlier. Russian defenders brace for impact. Guns thunder from rooftops. Tracers slice the dawn. Fragments rain over Red Square. The city sounds like a frontline trench. Ukrainian operators push everything forward. Mini drones streak across courtyards, skimming so low their shadows vanish under street lamps. Cruise missiles roar overhead, slamming into fuel trucks and ammo caches. Each blast shakes the ground, rattling windows for miles. Medics sprint between stairwells, dragging the wounded by their vests. Inside the general staff bunker, commanders scream into failing radios. Some units no longer reply. Power cuts out again. Emergency lights flicker red as smoke seeps through vents. Officers spread maps on the floor. Corridors jam with runners carrying notes. Every heartbeat feels like the last before the roof caves in. On the streets, Russian squads form a ring of fire. They drag machine guns into intersections, laying down tracers. Ka-52 gunships try to lift, but Patriot batteries wait. One helicopter clears the tree line before a missile tears it apart. Soldiers duck as flaming debris crashes into apartments. Barricades rise at choke points. Flares hiss and paint the avenues orange. The climax is brutal. A swarm of drones punches through and slams into the wall of the general staff. The blast opens a hole, tossing rubble across the avenue. Seconds later, another storm shadow rips into command floors. Dust, concrete, and fire swallow entire rooms. The nerve center of Russia's war machine teeters on collapse. Yet the defenders hold. A ring of CIWS-style autocannons erupts, shredding dozens of drones at near point-blank range. Tracer lines glow like molten steel, cutting the sky to ribbons. Explosions erupt one after another until the swarm thins, then fades. Smoke clears to reveal a battered skyline scarred, but still standing. For a moment, both sides pause, counting what's left. This is the razor's edge of war. Survival by inches, victory by seconds. And now I want your call. Press 1 if you think Moscow's defense held by grit, or 9 if you believe Ukraine broke through. Don't forget to subscribe, because the next strike could decide far more than a single night in Moscow. 6:30 a.m. The guns fall silent. Smoke still rises over Moscow's center, mixing with dawn light to paint the sky gray and red. The general staff building is scarred, its command floors gutted, its radar cabins ruined. Vehicles burn in the streets, their twisted frames proof of how deep the strike cut. The tactical result is clear. Ukraine hit the nerve center of Russia's war machine. 2 storm shadows made it through, destroying key communications and knocking command offline for crucial hours. Russian units at the front, waiting for orders, heard only static. In modern war, silence can be deadlier than fire. For Russia, the cost is staggering. Helicopters lost, armored vehicles shredded, radar blind spots widening. More than 100 troops killed or wounded in their own capital. But worse than the damage is the image. Moscow, the city told to be untouchable, was penetrated, its core command humiliated on camera. Civilians shared clips before censors could react, and the world watched the myth of an invulnerable capital collapse. For Ukraine, the message is louder than the explosions. They showed they can strike not only front lines, but the heart of Russian power. Even if temporary, the disruption bought time for operations elsewhere, and it shook both soldiers and leaders who believed Moscow untouchable. Strategically, the impact ripples outward. Insurance markets tremble. Allies note that no shield is perfect, and Russia's generals face questions about defenses they swore could not be breached. For the Kremlin, the question is survival of perception. Can they still claim control after their command hub was silenced at dawn? This strike may not end the war, but it redraws the lines of fear and confidence. So I want your take, press. 1 if you think Russia can recover and tighten defenses, or 9 if you believe Ukraine has opened a door that can't be closed. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next strike could show whether this was a one-night shock or the start of Moscow's unraveling.